Heyo, it is I, the Great Taco, and here is Kopaka. So, I actually remember the set number this time, so this is 71311 Kopaka Uniter of Ice. I forget the proper name of this set, I just remember this is the 2016 Kopaka, but he also comes with Melon Creature of Ice. So this is this is like the only instance of this in 2016, but I'll explain that in a second. First, I want to address some inaccuracies with my last video with my Kopaka Master of Ice. So, in that video, I noted that the transparent light blue limbs in the set were new. They were not. They originally came on the Chima Ultra Build sets a year prior. So like Sir Fangar and I forget the Vulture they released, but they came on those first. So thought I'd actually get that out there so that I'm not completely wrong, even though I was very much being inaccurate in that video because I completely forgot those sets existed. So yeah. Anyway, on to this. So, this is one set. This is not two sets, this is one set. So normally with all of the other Toa, the Toa would be like a $20 set and the creature would be a $13 set. So this is I'm not sure why they did it this way for Kopaka. My guess is that his 2015 version didn't sell too well, so they combined them in an effort to actually, or one of the two, Protector of Ice or Kopaka didn't sell well, so they combined it in an effort to get one of them off shelves better. Obviously, 2016 bombed, so... Well, 2015 bombed first, then 2016 made it go out on a miraculous note. So yeah. I'm gonna go note new pieces first and foremost here. So, or new pieces for this wave of sets. Obviously, none of them are new now. But first of all, we have... The creature has probably, not the most, but he has a few new pieces. I believe this gear piece was new. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was new for these sets because it has something to do with gear functions, which I will show later. This head was new, came in unique colors for every creature. These little like element thing pieces were brand new as well. And this unity piece in the middle was also new. And there is more. Oh, there is more. This entire torso piece on the inside, I don't feel like taking the... Actually, no, I can't take the torso armor off. So this entire internal torso piece is a new mold for this year, along with the pelvis piece, which actually snaps in. Mine didn't. I got it used. Just so that I could build custom stuff onto it. The chest armor was brand new. Obviously the masks. The eye stalks were new. They went from the longer ones to the shorter ones, which I very much like. This sword piece was also new. And I believe that's about it for new pieces for these sets. So there's quite a lot. Which is kind of a shame, because 2015 didn't have half that many. It had a lot of new pieces, don't get me wrong, but nothing on this caliber. Kopaka, I believe, for new pieces, the previous year's Kopaka only had, he only had like 4 or 5, maybe 6 new pieces. This is a lot more, because I feel like they're more significant here. Even if it's the same amount, it feels significant. Anyway, onto the set itself. So, I want to actually look at the mask first, because this is a very cool piece. So, the set actually comes with 2. So, you got the gold fusion mask, and then this one. I'm going to look at this one first. So, all of the masks had this like really cool runic symbol on them, or the runic like markings, which I think is really cool. This is the back of it, if anyone's curious. And actually, the thing is really cool is that they have the Nuva symbols on all of the Toa, and actually it's on his chest plate too, right there. It's there on his chest plate as well, which I quite like. I think it's a cool nod to G1. Then his eye, or the scope, actually pops out, so you can customize this in almost any way you want, so it's not locked to Kopaka. you could put this on like any other mock that you really wanted to, which I like. It's a cool idea. These may as well address this. All of the Toa's masks this wave were like kind of a marbled thing, so like half of it, like the top part was silver and the bottom part was their color. This was the case for Umarak as well, but it, yeah, you know. And some of the, what were they called? The beasts. I can't believe I forgot about that, but yeah, this works better on others, or works better on some than others. I think it works fine on Kopaka, although I think they should have done the marbling a different color depending on the Toa's color scheme. So like some of them might be gold or something like that. I get why they didn't do it, because they have a gold mask, but it's still weird to me. Speaking of the gold mask, here's the other one. Instead of being bat in white and silver, it's gold and transparent. I'm a buffoon. It's in gold and transparent light blue, which is actually really good to me, because it actually was with this. It actually allows the light piping to better get through his eyes, because it doesn't do that super well before. Actually, there's another weird design decision with this mask. The scope is pretty low. Like, it looks okay from most angles. If you're just like looking at it, it looks pretty good. Like looking at him here, it doesn't look bad. But when you start actually looking at it like closely, it's like, why does it look like that? It's an odd design choice, but I don't mind it. And speaking of other masks, I don't know. There was no segue there. Sorry. Here is the 2015 version compared to this one. So actually, it was like right before I set up recording, I kind of thought about how these are basically the same mask. Like, they are remarkably similar. This one came in Skull Warrior the year prior, and honestly, they're both really cool. I love this one because I don't know, I just like really like the melded kind of look to it. So there's the back. So yeah, that's it for masks. Now I'm going to start with the creature, since in the instructions, Mellum comes first. So for articulation, we got 2 joints in the neck actually. So you have a joint here and then that head. So this is for the combining feature of these sets, which I will show off after I show off Kopaka. Then his legs, it's just 1 joint with the ankle here. I don't like this. It's very hard to pose outside of this. So yeah, it's a little weird. But then actually, these have gear functions. So he can do this. You lift his tail. You lift his little tail, and he does this. This makes him look weird. So I love the function. It's super fun to mess with. Almost all the time. But it inhibits the articulation of his arms. That's the farthest in his arm can go, which is kind of annoying. But then you look at him, and he ends up being really wide, even though his frame is a lot smaller. So I always have his arms in like this to kind of hide that and make him look a little bulky. Because that's what he's supposed to be. He's a little dude. Also, he's got this little spike on his head, which not all of them had a little spike. Some of them had different spikes. Some of them didn't have it at all. So I think that's kind of cool. And actually, onto this head, there's little runic designs above the eyes on the forehead. There's eyes. This is very odd. I think this is one of the few molded heads that has eyes molded into it. And of course, the back of the head is actually the same as the mask, so I think that's pretty cool. So yeah. That's the creature, there's not much else to say. Oh, the unity piece in the middle. This is important for later. And I guess that's the rest of the torso, if anyone's interested in that. So yeah. That is Mellum. And now for Kopaka. So this is, I love this set so much. It's so cool. So people don't like this set for a few reasons. From what I've gathered just over the years of figuring out what people don't like, I think I heard someone say they didn't like it because he looks too thin, which, understandable, he is a little bit thin. Then also, one that I've heard numerous times is his thighs. So they use gold, but when you look at him there's no other gold on him at all. There's just none. Now, of course, if we use his gold mask, there is some gold on him. It's still not very much, but it's there. It kind of balances it out a little better. But it's still not very much. And I understand why people don't like that. I don't really care. I still really like it. So, yeah, getting that out of the way. These sets actually have different gear functions than the year prior. So the year prior, there was a little knob on their back. You would turn it and their arms would swing, or one of the arms, or one or both of the arms would swing. Just as, like, you know, little gear function. This one, they have the butt knob. We have a good old close-up of Kopaka's cake here. And it allows them to have waist articulation. Now, this is the first Toa sets to have waist articulation, which I think is really cool. Mine's a little squeaky. Like I said, I got him used. But yeah, I think it's a cool function. One thing I will complain about, though, is that this piece here, the pelvis, was color locked. So it only came in this color. So, a little annoying, but not the end of the world. Still looks cool. Actually, we'll start with his... that's out of the way. Let's look at his legs really quick. So his legs are actually pretty simple. I will not comment on this piece here. I believe... I mean... I said I wouldn't comment. I'm going to comment anyway. I think that it was new for this set. It might not be. I don't feel like checking right now. But regardless, it is the one right down. It's this one, but the other version of it. So I believe it was new for this set. It might not be. I don't feel, like I said, don't feel like checking. Also, an odd choice is actually with a lot of the Uniter sets is they had friction adders on their ankles. I don't like this. I just don't. I don't really know why. I just don't. So yeah, the articulation is pretty good though, as I discovered while animating him a few days ago. Then the thighs are pretty basic, just with a shell with the add-on and nothing on the back. On the one side, the other side has an ammo belt, or ammo ring, I guess you could say. I think this is nice. It's a good way to store the extra studs for a stud shooter. So, I personally appreciate that. They actually went out of their way to put something on the set that actually would provide a way to store the studs and not just have them lying around, because Skull Warrior was like that, and I think Protector Device was the same way. Just throw the studs somewhere and don't worry about it. So onto his torso. I actually like his chest plate a lot. It's just white. It's just white. Nothing too special, but the printing is really cool. Got this nice dark blue printing, which I like. I love dark blue on Kopaka. It just looks kind of cool. Then it got his Nuva symbol in the middle here. And it's these weird green markings. Not sure why they're there. I don't really mind them. They're subtle enough to where you're looking at him and it's a little hard to see. So, I don't mind. The back of the torso, he actually has covering up on the back. Ooh. Because heaven for... this is... I like that they actually went out of their way to cover something up. Because as small as this little assembly here is, it does a lot. Because this up here, that's just like assembly stuff to put the arms on. But this here, I like that they added this because it actually makes him fully covered up on the back of the torso. The legs are not, obviously, but this is something at least. So, moving up the torso, you can see the arm assembly, or the shoulder assembly, is just attached by one axle, which is sketchy. At least to me. It just makes it a little hard to... Sometimes you move a little too much, you gotta push him back in. It's not too big of a deal. I haven't had him fall off yet. So, yeah. And arms. So these are odd because the ball joint goes in. So and it's a socket. It's not a socket on the torso and a ball on the arm. So usually it's the other way around, where the socket's on the arm and the ball's on the torso. But no, this time they broke the mold, went the other way around. I think it's cool. I like it. He's got a really good amount of articulation actually on these arms. The scroll armor gets in the way of the head a little bit, which is, I don't mind. It's a little annoying, but I can look past it. The one thing that is a little annoying is that it inhibits this custom shoulder assembly. It inhibits how the rest of the arm can articulate. So the rest of the arm is this used to be a bone with a shell, then a hand. So yeah, I don't mind it. It's so cool. It looks good, and I'm not really going to be playing with it that much. So, and of course, it still looks good. So, and it articulates well enough. Like you can still get some really good poses out of him. So yeah. Here, example of cool pose you can get with him that I got really quick and is really lazy. I think it's a cool pose. It's something at least. This is the torso swivel coming into action there. And on the one arm, he has a sword, which I like. Bringing back his sword from the, instead of his whatever, I don't even know what he had in 2015. It's a lance? Spear? I don't know. I still think it's okay. These are a lot better. I like that I like the kind of crystalline texture along the edge, like this edge of the blade. Then it goes into silver. Now, actually, for the longest time, I thought these were dual molded. They're not. They are actually marbled. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not going to take it up. I'm going to show it up. Show it close. So you can see the blue goes down into the what is the silver part of the blade. And, I mean, that's what marbling does. Like, I'm going to bring this back into the picture here. The marbling goes into really weird places on the piece, and the other mask is that way too. It kind of just goes super far down the forehead, making it almost a completely silver mask. And it kind of went dribbled down a little bit here, which I don't mind. It's hard to see, so yeah. Then you got a minifigure spear in the middle here, with this Hero Factory brain attack kind of triple lift arm connector thing. I don't know what it's formally called. And then the Kylo Ren lightsaber. What's it called? The Kylo Ren lightsaber hilt, but instead of blades coming out the sides, these little horns for a guard. So yeah, I actually like the look of this sword. It just kind of feels very Kopaka. Then actually there's a pommel at the back, which is not very common for Bionicle sets, ever. I don't think I've seen another set with a pommel on a blade. So yeah. Other arm, he's got a gun. So a complaint that people had with this set is that he doesn't have a shield, but I think this is his shield. So it is small, but small shields exist. I don't mind it. It is annoying to have no shield, and if this is supposed to be a shield, to have it very small. But it still looks cool and makes for a unique play feature where you turn this gear here and it shoots. I am not showing that off. I want to keep my pieces, thank you very much. And the rest of the arm construction is the same. Also, I may as well show off the head. It is just the G2 headpiece with this Nito eye stock piece. Now, it is time for the Unity function, the whole gimmick of these sets. So basically, the Unity, this piece attaches to this, and this is why they're called Unity pieces. You kind of just like snap it in there, kind of situate him a little bit, get his arms over his shoulders, and head over the head on top of head, and there we go. He's unified with his creature. So yeah, I actually like the look of this. Is it the greatest? No, not really. If they were separate sets, there would have been a lot more potential to make it better. Maybe, because this is the thing with this, I will say, is that this is the most underwhelming Unity combination of all of them. Like, Golly's got, like, shoulder cannons on her for the Unity. Liwa and Tahu have wings. Anua's kind of the same as this, and he also got the Shredder and the Stick, but Anua's also huge. Oh, what was Bahadu's? Bahadu got, pincers and a tail. Like, that's cool. Kopaka just gets extra armor. So, while it's not my favorite Unity feature, it does look cool. It makes him feel a little more like the 2015 Kopaka, where he had super bulky shoulder armor and ended up looking pretty cool. So yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say other than I really like this set, and if you can find it for under $100, I would get it, because these sets are expensive on the aftermarket. I was lucky to get mine for 55. So yeah, if any of you can find one for a good price, I recommend him. So yeah, ciao.